Hi, that might have been a rough closing. I have this free product I'm using that sometimes runs out of time. It only allows me so many minutes for free. That's why I got part 1 and 2. Anyway, so let me try to pick up where I think I left off. So I was basically wanting you to think again about the type of errors that would occur. And logic error is going to occur here because you might enter a 0 in this text box, in which case, or excuse me, an alpha character, in which case it could go to a 0 out of the val function, and then later on your code may be assuming you get a positive integer, and so if you have a 0 instead, it could cause problems. That could be a logic error in your code. I'm going to come back to this compilation error once we talked about option strict. So on a runtime error, this is where they aren't designed to get, in this case, a non-integer. So let's say an alpha was entered here. What that's going to do is cause a runtime error because it will not continue executing if it gets an alpha character instead. I'm pretty sure that this one also will cause a runtime error if you have an alpha character that cannot be converted to an integer. It's just going to stop execution. So those are runtime errors. Remember that val does not stop execution. It just returns a 0 if you have an alpha character. That's why the difference of logic error. Okay, let's go back and talk about this, and then we'll come back here. Alright, so we just got finished talking about implicit and explicit conversions, and there's one other point on this slide. This is just emphasizing that these are methods, and so you should at this point know the difference between a function and a method, although they may do the same thing. This I wanted to be sure and emphasize this bullet point, whoopsie, clicked, is that every object in Visual Basic does have a toString method. We haven't been using that, but that is another way that if you want to explicitly convert, for example, you're getting ready to create a display. So far we've been doing implicit conversions because we've just been putting an integer in a statement and putting it into a string variable text box content.text. But if you, to be more precise in your code, you could do an explicit conversion. If you had like a variable count, which is an integer, you would do count.toString and that would then convert it to a string before you put it in the .text display. Okay, option explicit. What this is it's an additional command put at the beginning of your module. It's the first line of code, and basically it disallows implicit conversion. And so if you want more robust code, some organizations will just not allow implicit conversions because those can cause trouble down the road. So if you put option strict, it's gonna, you could set your application up so that you don't have to have it in every module, but it's going to default to have it, or you can even set your IDE up so that everything you write automatically has option strict. So again, it's not something that we've done before, but it's something to be aware of. When it's in place, as I just stated, implicit conversions are treated as compile errors. So it doesn't even let you get to the point of running or possible logic errors. So if you had option strict in place, the val function calls from .text properties to integer or other non-string variable types will not work. They must be explicitly converted. So obviously at that point, val for input validation is no longer sufficient. That's what I wanted to talk about. Let me go back here. Whoopsie, lost it. Here it is. So remember, a compilation error is the one that you don't even get to the point of executing. So if you had option strict at the top of the module, then this statement would just cause a compilation error, because you basically have to explicitly convert it. Oh, let me see, I think I'm pointing at the wrong one. I'm sorry, not the convert to integer. That is an explicit conversion. The val statement right here would cause a compilation error. Alright, that's what I wanted to talk about. This last part 2 is going to be pretty short. I want to wish you all a happy spring break. Study hard for the quiz on Thursday, and then enjoy your break. We'll see you later.